Grover sniffed dejectedly. I I suppose, but it was hard enough to rally them before. I'm still an outcast. I could barely get anyone to listen to me about Pan. Now will they ever listen again? I led them into a slaughter. They will listen, I promised, because you care more about them. You care about the wild more than anyone. He tried for a smile. Thanks, Percy. I hope you know I'm really proud to be your friend. I patted his arm. Luke was right about one thing, G-Man. You're the bravest satyr I'd ever met. He blushed, but before he could say anything, conch horns blew. The army of Poseidon marched into the throne room. Percy! Tyson yelled. He charged toward me with his arms open. Fortunately, he'd sank back to normal size, so his hug was like getting hit by a tractor, not the entire farm. You are not dead, he said. Yeah, I agreed. Amazing, huh? He clapped his hands and laughed happily. I am not dead either. Yay! We chained Typhoon. It was fun. Behind him, 50 other armed Cyclops laughed and nodded and gave each other high fives. Tyson led us, one rumbled. He is brave. Bravest of the Cyclops, another bellowed. Tyson blushed. Was nothing. I saw you, I said. You were incredible. I thought poor Grover would pass out. He's definitely afraid of Cyclops. But he steeled his nerves and said, Yes, 3 cheers for Tyson! Yeah! The Cyclopses roared. Please don't eat me, Grover muttered, but I don't think anyone heard him. The conch horns blasted again. The Cyclops parted, and my father strode into the throne room in his battle armor, his trident glowing in his hands. Tyson, he roared. Well done, my son. And Percy. His face turned stern. He waggled his finger at me, and for a second I thought he was going to zap me. I even forgive you for sitting on my throne. You have saved Olympus. He held out his arms and gave me a hug. I realized, a little embarrassed, that I'd never actually hugged my dad before. He was warm, like a regular human, and he smelled of a salty beach and fresh sea air. When he pulled away, he smiled kindly at me. I felt so good. I'll admit I teared up a little. I guess, until that moment, I hadn't allowed myself to realize just how terrified I'd been the last few days. Dad? Shh, he said. No hero is above fear, Percy, and you have risen above every hero. Not even Hercules. Poseidon! Zeus had taken his throne. He glared across the room at my dad while all the other gods filled in and took their seats. Even Hades was present, sitting on a simple stone guest chair at the foot of the hearth. Nico sat cross-legged on the ground at his dad's feet. Well, Poseidon, Zeus grumped, are you too proud to join us at council, my brother? I thought Poseidon was going to get mad, but he just looked at me and winked. I'd be honored, Lord Zeus. I guess miracles do happen. Poseidon strode over to his fishing seat, and the Olympian Council convened. While Zeus was talking, some long speech about the bravery of the gods, etc., Annabeth walked in and stood next to me. She looked good for someone who recently passed out. Miss much? She whispered. Nobody's planning to kill us so far, I whispered back. First time today. I cracked up, but Grover nudged me because Hera was giving us a dirty look. As for my brothers, Zeus said, we are thankful. He cleared his throat like the words were hard to get out. Thankful for the aid of Hades. The Lord of the Dead nodded. He had a smug look on his face, but I figured he earned the right. He patted his son Nico on the shoulders, and Nico looked happier than I'd ever seen him. And of course, Zeus continued, though he looked like his pants are smoldering, we, thank Poseidon. I'm sorry, brother, Poseidon said. What was that? We must thank Poseidon, Zeus growled. Without him, it would have been difficult. Difficult? Poseidon asked innocently. Impossible, Zeus said. Impossible to defeat Typhoon. The gods murmured agreement and pounded their weapons in approval. Which leaves us, Zeus said, only the matter of thanking our young demigod heroes who defended Olympus so well, even if there are a few dents in my throne. He called Dahlia forward first, since she was his daughter, and promised her help in filling in the hunters' ranks. Artemis smiled. You have done well, my lieutenants. You have made me proud, and all those hunters who perished in the service will not be forgotten. They will achieve Elysium, I am sure.